the man is not an island, and I feel that, I mean, having the mixture of all these big names, such as, you know, Hendrix, John Mayer, even John Frusciante for me was a big guy. People normally don't brand Frusciante as like that sort of like guitar hero technique wise, let's say that. The good part of having, you know, the access to, because back in the days, for me, for example, being in Brazil, I would have to go to a music store and try to find those VHS.
Interesting.
And like, oh, there's a couple of videos, I mean, VHS available here from this national players, and sometimes, you know, Paul Gilbert's video, and I'll be like, oh, cool, I could buy it. And then I have that 1 hour and 30 minutes. And nowadays, like, if you go to everybody's page, there's a, this is my guitar course, how to play things, and blah, 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 blah. So the access of things, you know, I could go to Matteo Mancuso's page or Instagram, YouTube, whatever, and just spend the entire week watching every single video and could be able to like, okay, I would love to replicate that thing, you know? And going back to the style, I mean, I got it a lot from, I would say John Mayer was the main guy. He changed the, I mean, that double stop thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's, again, I love harmonies. Like, could be like from a vocal harmony or whatever. So instead of just playing this, I just want to play. Everything's double, you know, like I don't know. I like that kind of, that nuance, you know? And we were talking about, you know, the approach of lines. But the guy that actually opened the horizon for me was a keyboard player that used to be my bandmate from Tori Kelly's band. You know, he was just playing his Moog, but with this harmonizer pitch pedal, and I'm like, this sounds amazing. It's like grabbing the whammy pedal and then you just have that harmonizer on. But somehow he was just playing things so musical, and I was like, wow, I want to incorporate those things into my playing too. And then of course you connect the dots and you see like, oh, Joe Mayer used that a lot because he got that from Steve Ray, and then Steve Ray got that from Hendrix, and then you're just connecting the dots. And of course you have to replicate it first, and then you try to incorporate that and make it in your own.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
And then I found out that there was like another huge school, you know, the gospel school, you know,
Yes.
like the gospel players, like these R&B guys, you know, the church dudes, they played that thing over and over forever.
Right. That's
you know,
right.
so it's just so nice to see that, you know, sometimes people will be like, oh man, this guy's like coming up with like this new thing, but there's always, you know, somebody in the past coming up with like those things too, you know, so it's so cool.
Matteo, were you influenced? Did you ever listen to John Mayer? Was he a person that you were?
Yeah. The first album I listened to it was Continuum, I think, and it's maybe one of his most famous ones. And especially when I started, I was really into the blues, and I think for every guitar player, it doesn't matter the style of what you want to play. Learning the blues, it's part of the guitar history, I think. So if you learn that kind of stuff, it will help you with actually every kind of style you want to play. So it's more about expression rather than just pure technique, because blues solos are sometimes really like meat and potatoes of a solo, you know. But you don't need to get technical or have a lot of information on a solo in order to be good. And on the other hand, if you have too much information, sometimes it gets a little worse, you know? So doing a good thing with just few material And that's what John is doing, actually. If you analyze some of his solos, sometimes he's just doing the pentatonic stuff, but he uses it in a way that, you know, you are really amazed by the musicality of it, not just the vocabulary or the harmonic information, you know.
It's one thing that I find that I've been noticing, actually. I just had this thought, because when people were like talking about me back in 2014, 15, I'm like, oh, bro, there's this Instagram guitar player. There's one like mutual thing, I would say, in between the Mateo's club.
Right.
It's like, I mean, of course, Mateo's left hand is spectacular, but I feel like there's something about the right hand. And when I mention the right hand, it doesn't mean necessarily like the rhythm, like the pocket, but because like I play a lot of the finger style thing, you know?
Yes.
So I mix a lot with like pick and without pick and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And Matteo doesn't even have a pick in his hands. So it's funny to know that if we're talking about like the trend or like this new generation, there's something regarding the right hand.
Right.
You know? It's more about the right hand instead of the left hand, of course, you have to know how to play it.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way you approach the string with your right hand.
I just realized that you hold the pick in between your middle finger there, and
Yeah.
you do that a lot, don't you?
Yeah, because like if I want to play, I don't know. But I could also be able to.
Wow.
That's
so I
amazing.
could just like mess around.
That's how you do that. I was wondering.
Beautiful. I use hybrid picking for some of the lines,
sometimes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.